And finally tonight, a Brooklyn neighborhood's fight to save an historic church from demolition is resonating deep in the heart of Paterson, New Jersey. As senior correspondent Marie Denoya Aronson reports, the work of an Italian-born artist is at the root of the connection.
Meet Gaetano Federici. He died back in 1964, but among the historically and artistically inclined in Paterson, his presence is palpable every day. In his work, which dots the downtown like familiar and friendly faces, and in the memory of his character and his story.
Gaetano Federici, I think, is probably the only artist who is so intimately associated with Paterson, its public spaces, its public monuments. His story is so much a Paterson story about immigration, about making a new life, and making that life through the mastery of craft and hard work.
You have no right to destroy our past, our present, and our future.
Today in Brooklyn, a neighborhood defensive. They are fighting a Brooklyn diocese plan to bulldoze this church to make way for 88 units of affordable housing. This coalition of Italian, Hispanic, and African Americans offered the diocese an alternate plan, which would preserve the church as a cultural center. So far, they say, they haven't gotten much traction with the bishop. But the stakes are high, and the fight is on. This church is steeped with meaning, telling the story of more than 100 years of immigrant history in this Brownsville neighborhood. And it is adorned with sculpture by, you guessed it, Paterson's own Gaetano Federici.
The architectural, the sculpture, the quality of what was built in here is part of the history and is part of what should be a landmark.
Today, the great-grandson of one of Paterson's favorite sons made this promise.
I like to try to follow his legacy. I mean, this is Gaetano himself right here. And if there's anything that I could do in my powers, I will do it. If it's day and night, whatever we have to do, however many people we need to contact.
It means not just saving a building, but saving the story of a community.
Historian Flavio Elia has also taken up the fight to save Our Lady of Loreto and Federici's contribution to the Italian-American story.
In the midst of all the conflict about how Italian-Americans are represented, how better to represent what Italian-Americanism means than to show the facade and the interior of this beautiful place.
According to Castagno, to Paterson, Federici is so much more than a favorite son. His work tells the narrative of turn-of-the-century Paterson. His life represents the immigrant experience. So Brooklyn's fight to save Our Lady of Loreto is in so many ways Paterson's fight too. And while Paterson preservationists did not show up at today's protest, they have written a letter to the Diocese of Brooklyn urging the bishop to reconsider the demolition plan and say they are with the Brooklyn activists in spirit and tracking every twist and turn of this battle. We reached out to the diocese today. They were unavailable to comment. Marie Denoya Aronson, NJN News.